We hope you enjoy The Magicians, Hoshi No Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight by Rachel Lawson.
Hoshi No Michi だった。彼は弱くしてあげられた者たちの英雄であった。彼はいつの日か私たちを堕落から救うために戻ってくるだろう。彼は成功の忍者、星のから救うために戻ってくるだろう。彼は成功の忍者、星の道だった。星から来た闇の忍者。彼は決して死なず、決して堕落しない。彼は彼らの中で最も偉大な戦士であった。私たちを堕落から救うために戻ってくるだろう。彼は星空の忍者、星の道だった。星から来た闇の忍者。彼は決して死なず、決して落ちることはない。彼は最強の戦士だった。彼は天道の忍者、星のことはない。彼は最強の戦士だった。天道の忍者、星の道だった。星から来た星の忍者。彼は決して死なず、決して落ちることはない。彼は最強の戦士だった。
Sapphirus was in Japan on a routine assignment as a political envoy, a guest of the government. Sapphirus, the emperor of the universe, had expected diplomacy, not ghosts from his past. He could have missed it. It was merely a line in a Japanese song being sung, which wasn't strange. He was in Japan. He sat listening to it, and he heard a name he knew from long ago. His name long ago in the imperial court of a former emperor of Japan. He vaguely remembered the language but was a bit rusty through lack of practice, so he had to ask the Japanese emperor to translate the song for him. He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend, Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark shinobi from the stars. He will never die, he will never fall. He was the greatest warrior of them all. No one could defeat him, not even death. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, said the Japanese emperor as the singers sang. Are you all right, true celestial emperor? Asked the Japanese emperor, seeing that Sapphirus looked as if something was wrong. Who was this Hoshi no Michi? Asked Sapphirus. He was one of your people, a hero by night and the court magician of one of my ancestors by day, said the Emperor of Japan with an air of hero worship. He was English. He was an expert magician and entertainer. He had an otherworldly, out-of-time aura about him, the Japanese emperor said. English? Said Sapphirus, remembering. Yes, he went by the name Blake Alexander as the magician, said the Emperor of Japan. Sapphirus, who was born Blake Alexander and had long since realized the emperor was talking of him, looked awkward. A long time ago, in the court of Akito, another emperor of Japan, Sapphirus made a white dove appear, and the court and Akito cheered and applauded. Akito walked over to the magician and congratulated his friend on his skills. Sapphirus was dressed in a Japanese-style kimono. Despite his English looks and complexion, he wasn't human either. He hid his inhumanity at the time to avoid frightening the surrounding humans, who feared the strange. He knew he was strange. He was an alien and a time traveler from the 2000s who lived from the Roman era until then with some of his friends and family. His people were near immortal. They died not of old age, only misadventure. But he died only to return to life. He was an anomaly even among his people. Sapphirus got the ultimate praise. You were perfect, my love, said a woman, Angela, his wife, exactly as she had been before her reincarnation. His heart raced, his love for her flared like fire. He walked to her, embraced her, kissed her, letting the rush of passion sweep through him. Then the music returned. The vision dissolved. Sapphirus blinked and found himself back in the hall, the Emperor of Japan staring at him as though something unusual had just happened. Are you all right, Celestial Emperor? The Japanese Emperor asked. Yes, just a flashback. A problem you get when you're as old as I am, Sapphirus said lightly. The Japanese Emperor smiled politely. To him, it had looked like a beautiful memory, but he said nothing. Sapphirus, being a telepath, caught a flicker of the Emperor's thoughts, an image of him kissing someone who wasn't there. He grimaced, mortified. Thank God I wasn't on stage when that happened. Small mercies. He couldn't leave, so he forced himself into small talk. I know Blake. He's my grandson. I'm very proud of him. He was born in Australia, not England, Sapphirus said, trying to sound casual. How can that be? Australia wasn't even discovered when he was no doubt born, the Japanese Emperor said, puzzled. Oh, Blake is a time traveller. He was born in 1978 in Australia and has been trapped in the past since the Roman age, Sapphirus replied, slipping into the truth before he could stop himself. The Emperor nodded slowly, absorbing this. Then, with genuine curiosity, he asked, What is Hoshi no Michi like? He had no idea he was speaking to him. Secretive and complicated, said Sapphirus. I have no doubt, said the Japanese Emperor, trying to forget what he saw, but failing to Sapphirus' embarrassment. He could not stop reading people's minds, even if he tried. On the bright side, he was alone in the Emperor's box and with the Japanese Emperor. He is a stage magician now, said Sapphirus. Is he still a warrior? Asked the Emperor of Japan. Of sorts, yes, said Sapphirus, as if he was holding something back. The truth, which was that he was talking about himself. Did Hoshi no Michi come from the stars, as the legend says? Asked the Japanese Emperor reverently, thinking he was talking to the hero's grandfather, not his hero himself. No, But he's visited them, said Sapphirus. Is it true he doesn't die? Asked the Japanese emperor curiously. Sapphirus looked reluctant to admit it, but after a moment's thought he said, Oh, he dies, but he can't stay dead. That's his problem. How is that? Asked the Emperor of Japan. His soul, a reaper, won't let him stay dead. He touches him, and he comes back to life healed, said Sapphirus, not sure he should admit it. Is that normal for your people? Asked the Emperor of Japan. No, he's the only one like that, admitted Sapphirus. The Japanese emperor exhaled softly, absorbing this. Then he must bear a heavy burden, he said at last, to die and rise again. Does it not torment him? Sapphirus hesitated. The question struck closer to the truth than the emperor could ever know. It depends on the death, he said quietly. Some are harder to come back from than others. The emperor nodded slowly, moved. By the weight in Sapphirus's voice, mistaking it for the grief of a grandfather, not the confession of the man himself, the Japanese emperor sighed and said to Sapphirus, I have to give up our pleasant conversation, Celestial Emperor. I see it is time for me to make a speech. We can talk later. A pleasure, Sapphirus said, nodding his head to his fellow emperor. The hall was still humming with the last echoes of the song on Sapphirus's past life. The Japanese emperor stood to address the audience, his voice warm and steady. Sapphirus remained beside him, outwardly calm, though the memory of Angela's kiss still lingered like a phantom touch. Then something shifted. A mind in the crowd tightened like a fist. A single thought sharpened into murderous intent. Sapphirus felt it before the sound came, a spike of cold purpose. Crack, the gunshot split the air. Sapphirus moved before the emperor even flinched. Centuries of instinct, training, and reflex took over. He stepped directly into the bullet's path. The impact threw him backward. He hit the floor hard. Gasps erupted. Guards surged. The assassin was tackled. The hall dissolved into chaos. The Japanese emperor dropped to his knees beside him. Sapphirus? No. Sapphirus didn't respond. His body lay still, eyes closed, blood spreading across his chest. For a moment, the emperor believed the legend had died in front of him. Then the air around Sapphirus shimmered with a faint, impossible glow, as if he had been healed by an invisible hand. His fingers twitched. His chest rose. The wound sealed itself as though time rewound. He opened his eyes and winked. The Japanese emperor's breath caught. Awe, fear, reverence, all of it flickered across his face. You truly are. The Japanese emperor swallowed. Hoshi No Michi. Sapphirus sat up slowly, brushing dust from his jacket. Then he said, Well, that was unpleasant. The Japanese emperor bowed his head, his voice trembling with sincerity. I will never betray your secret. Not to anyone, not ever. Sapphirus smiled, a small, grateful, tired smile, and said, Thank you. Legends are easier to manage than reality. The Emperor of Japan nodded and vowed, Then the legend will remain. The assassin was quickly subdued, a political agitator whose cause would be forgotten long before the legend he tried to disrupt. In the days that followed, the two emperors found themselves drawn into an unlikely friendship, one mortal, one eternal, bound by a secret older than nations. The Japanese emperor kept his vow, guarding Sapphirus's truth with the same devotion he gave his throne, and so the world continued believing in the myth of Hoshi No Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, never knowing that the legend still walked among them, watching, protecting, and quietly shaping the fate of those who sang his name.
He was the celestial emperor's friend, Hoshi No Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero return one day to save us from our fall. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars. He will never die, he will never fall. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend. Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars. He will never die, he will never fall. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend. Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars. He will never die, he will never fall. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend. Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall.
He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars. Tick tock, ah, tick tock, river runs out.
He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend. Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall. He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars. He will never die, he will never fall. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He was the greatest warrior of them all. He came from the stars. He was the celestial emperor's friend. Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight. He was the hero of the weak and downtrodden. He will return one day to save us from our fall.
He was Hoshi no Michi, the Shinobi of Starlight, the dark Shinobi from the stars.